Hello there, and welcome to Zambia 2026 General Elections Program. My name is Victor Mwila. In our previous program, the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ Chief Electoral Officer Brown Kasaro, provided an update on the electoral roadmap and outlined measures the Commission is implementing to prepare for the 13th August 2026 general elections. Some of the ECZ activities that have taken place this week include the launch of the Count Me in Media campaign, the introduction of the online conflict management early warning system, and an online accreditation portal, among others. In this edition, we speak to the Zambia Center for Inter-Party Dialogue, ZCID Executive Director, Doreen Kabwe. ZCID is the umbrella body for political parties in Zambia and serves as an important platform for dialogue, cooperation and engagement among political players. We begin by understanding the role of the organization and its assessment of the Electoral Commission's engagement with political parties so far. Here is ZCID Executive Director, Doreen Kabwe.
At ZCID, we are a platform for inter-party dialogue. We are an umbrella institution for political parties in Zambia, and we house over 58 political parties who are actually affiliated to us. So we promote constitutionalism, rule of law, and like I earlier said, inter-party dialogue. And we also serve as a bridge between political parties and different institutions. Also we just a convener of political parties in Zambia. So you will notice that institutions that want to work with political parties go through ZCID, because ZCID is political parties. Secretariat, we are not political parties, but the board members are political parties. So we run the day-to-day activities of a center. Immediately after the 2021 elections, there had been concerns that ECZ had not been consultational, it had not been constantly engaging stakeholders. We actually wrote to them, we engaged them on the matter. When they were preparing their strategic plan, of course wanting to serve the stakeholders better, they started engaging in trying to find out how best we felt they needed to engage political parties, they needed to interact with political parties. Amongst the issues we shared with them is constant engagement with political parties. And when I say that they have done tremendously well, is because, I mean, everyone, meaning Zambian, can attest to the fact that ECZ has been engaging the public. Political parties, I'll speak on the part of political parties, even when they decided to roll out the roadmap, they've been engaging. We've had countless engagement meetings, so it will be practically impossible to say you do not know what ECZ is doing, because at every step of the way they have been engaging. So there's been tremendous improvement in that regard. We may not have it all like 100%, but I think in terms of progress made, they have done well.
Thank you for staying with us. If you're just joining us, you are watching Zambia 2026 General Elections Program. We are featuring the Zambia Center for Inter-Party Dialogue, ZCID, who have observed that there has been significant improvement in stakeholder engagement by the Electoral Commission of Zambia compared to previous electoral cycles. According to ZCID, political parties have been continuously engaged throughout the implementation of the electoral roadmap, making it difficult for stakeholders to claim ignorance of electoral processes and activities. However, while engagement has improved, ZCID feels there's still room for improvement when it comes to consultation and involving stakeholders earlier in decision-making processes. Here again is Doreen Kabwe, Executive Director at ZCID.
If we look at what they presented in terms of the roadmap, they've done it well. But the challenge is that should you have somebody who decides to act with impunity, if we go that trajectory of not bringing in stakeholders, consulting stakeholders on certain things, if somebody wants to act out of good faith, without good faith, we'll have a challenge. So what we are saying is that let's get, despite the decisions, good or bad, let's get to have stakeholders, let's get to have political parties consulted in terms of how certain things should be done, how certain decisions are made. That way, I mean, this is democracy. Citizen participation is very key.
Thank you for sticking with us. You are watching Zambia 2026 Elections Program. One of the key objectives of stakeholder engagement is building trust and confidence in electoral institutions. As Zambia moves closer to polling day, questions continue to arise regarding the level of confidence political parties have in the Electoral Commission's management of the elections. ZCID has observed that views among political parties remain diverse, reflecting the different interests and perspectives within Zambia's political landscape. At the same time, the organization believes it is important to assess the Commission objectively and acknowledge both its strengths and areas that require improvement. Here is ZCID once again talking and responding to this matter.
You know, it is such questions where sometimes I would want to take off my hat as ZCID ED and probably speak to issues as I see them because I am also involved in the processes that ECZ undertakes. So, okay, I am usually involved in their voter education activities. Now we are involved as ZCID in conflict management committees, training and everything. So I said yes and no because we are divergent as an institution. We do not sing an anthem. We've got over 50 political parties and you do not expect them to speak one language. There are some who feel ECZ is on the right trajectory. There are some who blatantly tell you to say we don't have the confidence. So for me, it will be difficult to give you an outright answer because what I'm saying is representative of what our members think and what they feel. So they don't think the same. Some are happy, some are not happy. We live in a highly politicized society. Everything is politics. Today, if somebody heard you say ECZ is doing well, they will align you with a particular party. If they hear you say ECZ is doing bad, they will still align you. But it is important to be objective because truth will always stand, okay? So, despite the challenges, ECZ is doing well. They are doing what they can, notwithstanding the challenges that are there. Whenever issues arise, political parties have given the ZCID board a mandate. Whenever issues arise, we write to ECZ and they will always give us a platform. We have engaged chairperson and her team, the commission, to deliberate on different aspects. There was issues at some point of nomination fees. We engaged them. Issues of voter registration. You remember when voter registration happened, there were issues coming up. We responded. One thing I'll tell you is that we have seen them make amends. We have seen them change, make certain changes based on the stakeholders' cries or concerns. Nomination issues. Okay, the stakeholders spoke, political parties spoke. So from where we sit, away from politicization of issues, based on the engagement we have done with the commission, we have seen a responsive ECZ. Okay, we've seen a responsive ECZ. I know that we are coming from a space where we are, when you're an opposition political party, Yours is just to oppose, whether it is right or wrong, because I mean, power contestation in Africa is about me, and it's either me and not everybody. So you find a posturing that when you are in the opposition, you should say no to everything, and when you are in the ruling party, you should say yes to everything. So you need to get in between, draw a line, and be objective. So the objectiveness is you want to look at does ECZ have the technical know-how? Yes, they do. Because ECZ, you notice, does not even work on their own. They also have all these stakeholders that they work with, those that are part and parcel of the electoral process. So in our view, they have been responsive. They are not 100% perfect. They haven't done everything 100% correct, but they are in the right trajectory.
You are watching the Zambia 2026 elections program. The Zambia Center for Inter-Party Dialogue says while no electoral management institution is perfect, it has observed responsiveness from the Electoral Commission on a number of issues raised by stakeholders. The organization also notes that political competition often shapes public perceptions, making it important for all stakeholders to distinguish between legitimate concerns and political positioning. Beyond confidence in institutions, attention is now turning to the conduct of political parties, candidates, and supporters during the campaign period. What role is ZCID playing in promoting peaceful participation and adherence to the Electoral Code of Conduct? Here is Doreen Kabwe on this issue again.
I usually smile or laugh every time somebody is talking to political parties or politicians and say there is a law. Sometimes politicians can act with impunity. We've got an Electoral Code of Conduct. It outlines how you are expected to conduct yourself in an election as candidates, as supporters, even as citizens. But you'd find that there would be blatant disregard of what is provided for. And so ours, we know that we are dealing with people. The law was made for people. And so we have continued to capacity build. I'm sure you may have witnessed it in the recent past. We have collaborated with different stakeholders, UNICEF, UNDP, the Electoral Commission of Zambia, and different organizations. Ideally, we want our political parties, our politicians, to understand what democracy comes with. Democracy comes with participation. You need to ensure that women are not left behind. You need to ensure that persons with disabilities are not left behind. We need to ensure that young people are not left behind. We need to ensure that children are not left behind. And that's an intervention we had with UNICEF, that they need to also consider children. What are their manifestos? How responsive are their manifestos towards those things? Of course, right now, we have an electoral system that, of course, it's a milestone for our country. We have scored there where we have reserved number of seats for women, 20, young people 15, and persons with disabilities 10. We know that fundamentally the introduction of proportional representation was to secure representation. And so it is a milestone, quite all right, and we are very happy about it. We are just appealing, and the capacity building we are doing for these political parties is to ensure that despite those seats, that is a beginning. That is political will. How do we now support more women? Because if we leave things as they are, we may have the worst parliament in terms of representation, in terms of numbers, because numbers do not speak. Much as we talk these 20 for women, remember that the number has gone up from the constituency base seats are now 226. Then we will have those others that are coming. So what will account for that 20? Of course, at some point we could hear comments like, even if you're not adopted, you already have reserved seats. So for us, we want to also build capacity to ensure that our result is reflective of our people, is reflective, our parliament ultimately will be reflected of divergent groupings. And so that is what we have been doing. And our word to our political parties really is to adhere. You know, campaigns will become very easy if they adhere to the electoral code of conduct, because it's clear, it is easy. Okay? Let them be issue-based. Let them be tolerant of divergent views. Civility in politics cannot be overemphasized. When you look at the police, maybe I also talk about the police, they are the custodians of maintaining law and order. Now we've got the public gatherings bill. We are looking forward to see how they are going to implement it, okay? It's being tested. Of course, there are debates also around that, but we want to see how it's going to be done. Let them, in their approach, let them use a human rights-based approach in maintaining law and order. We know that it's possible to have unruly, they're always there. But I think let them take note of that. The Electoral Commission of Zambia, let them continue in the same trajectory. Perception in politics is not one of those things. And so the perception that they take and the perception that they carry is also very important. Let them continue to be a referee, a neutral referee in all these processes. And ultimately, we're expecting peaceful elections. So each and every stakeholder in the electoral process should be concerned about the integrity of the electoral process. When you bring in issues of violence, when you bring in issues of anything that even just abrogates the electoral code of conduct, undermines the integrity of the electoral process. So really, from ZCID, we've been through this bout. We anticipate a peaceful election. We anticipate by now the temperatures are not as they were. You know. Let me not get into other issues you haven't asked me, but we are hoping for a peaceful election where divergent views will be tolerated, the political parties will be civil in their approach, the police will do its work, ECZ will also do its work. Together we are building Zambia, a united Zambia that we've always had.
If you're just joining us, you are watching the Zambia 2026 elections program. As election day approaches, several important milestones still lie ahead, including the publication of candidate information, issues such as voter sensitization activities, ballot paper printing, and the eventual announcement of election results. ZCID believes transparency, responsiveness, and continued stakeholder engagement will remain critical in maintaining public confidence throughout these remaining stages. The organization also has a message for political leaders, institutions, and the electorate as Zambia heads towards the 13th August general elections.
I know that there are still processes that we still have, of course, printing of ballot papers and the rest. ECZ should continue to be transparent. In that area, they have tried. On Friday, there's another engagement meeting where they obviously want to abreast the stakeholders on the new electoral issues as regards the law, obviously in terms of the petitions, because you may be aware that there's been some amendments to some pieces of legislation. And so before anything, they're already coming to the stakeholders to bring us to speed. Okay, so they should continue like that, even up to the announcement of results. That would be my word. Let them continue. Let them continue to hear. Let them continue to be proactive. Let them continue to be responsive. Because by that, yes, they may not be operating in so much of an environment that they think they can do whatever they want to do to the best of their knowledge and capacities. But what is important is that so far, so good. Away from politics, okay, away from politics. Politicians should let institutions operate for what they were created for. Politicians should not exert unnecessary or undue influence on institutions because they know exactly what they are supposed to do. The electorate. Politicians have already started going to them. They are asking for their votes in whichever way possible. If there's going to be violence, they're the ones who will be used. And so it's very important that they should be informed. Now, these processes, like I said, they are not only for a specific stakeholder. They're for the citizens, the voters, the electorate themselves. And so let them be informed with whatever is happening so that even when time to vote comes, let them just go vote and get home. They need to know that just after voting, you're not supposed to start loafing around the polling station. You need to go back home, to go back to where you were coming from. And so we just expect that Zambians can appreciate the importance of peace and unity. You get to a level where you don't want people to regret certain actions. I have always said, even when I have had an opportunity to meet different stakeholders, I have said there are no perfect people and there are no perfect processes. These would be my closing remarks. This is a country we're all living in. And it should be your concern or your desire that we live in peace. We are not perfect. No one is perfect. Systems are run by people who are not perfect. We need to learn to accommodate each other. And when it comes to politics, there is always one person in front, one person in the driving seat at a time. We've got processes in this country that should you be dissatisfied with the person driving the seat, there are no more democratic processes you use to remove that person and put your preferred. Or if you are happy with your person, you have some processes of maintaining them, and that's through a vote. No wonder we say a vote is a right, a vote is a voice. You do not need to pick a stone in this day and age. You do not need to bash cars. You do not need to break windows. You've got a way in which you can speak. You've got a way in which you can be heard. And so it's very important that we look beyond ourselves. By whatever measure you use on others, that's exactly the narrative that you are creating. They'll use it on you. But what will happen ultimately when two big lions are fighting? It's a grass that is suffering. Okay, so it's an appeal to the Zambian citizen and the politicians We are dealing with a country. How you manage yourselves in a country determines how you are going to leave this country for the next generation.
Thank you for watching Zambia 2026 General Elections Program. In this edition, we were featuring ZCID, who have emphasized the importance of dialogue, stakeholder engagement, tolerance, and peaceful participation as Zambia prepares for the 13th August 2026 general elections. ZCID has also called on political parties, institutions, and citizens to uphold democratic values, respect the electoral code of conduct, and contribute to maintaining peace before, during, and after the elections. As the electoral process continues, stakeholders agree on one important point, and that point is that the responsibility for peaceful, credible, and democratic elections belongs to all of us. On behalf of the entire production team, my name is Victor Mwila. Thank you for watching Zambia 2026 General Elections Program. Until next time, it's bye for now.